Got great news from that space today. What I'm going to do as we welcome the YouTubers, want to say to them, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the Hello Neighbor Show. Welcome to the Hello Neighbor Show on the Politics Plus network. We're happy to have you, and of course we are here Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And we have great news for you because come Monday, we'll be coming to you live and in living colors with some exciting features. If you are on Patreon, want to welcome you also. Want to introduce our team. We have Caroline, who is the manager of the network. We have Shafreen, who is doing the technical stuff. And of course, we have Harry, Scratchy, and of course, protecting Jamaica. Welcome everybody to the Hello Neighbor Show. This evening, we are going to be looking at the NaRRA moment. The NaRRA moment. The NaRRA moment is a moment that every Jamaican need to pay attention to, need to be aware of. There are 4 clips I'm going to play for you from the Prime Minister. The first clip is where the Prime Minister lays out NaRRA. So the Prime Minister lays out NaRRA. The second is where the Prime Minister answers the questions. The third is where the Prime Minister addresses the governance concerns. And if you have been following the debate in the Parliament, which, by the way, is a political debate, quite frankly, to be very honest with you, it has been a disappointing debate. And as I pointed out to you last night, to my disappointment, there are some Laborites who are still, criticizing Mrs. Marlene Malahou Fort for her intervention into that debate. But we're not going to get into that tonight because, as I pointed out to you last night, that is a fourth. So the 4th term, I believe that Marlene Malahou Fort actually gave the government a gift. But you can watch that on YouTube. We did that last night. So the Prime Minister addressed the governance debate and then the oversight issues. So let's go to the Prime Minister as he sets out the NaRRA bill, and then we are going to come back and have some comments on that. So here's the Prime Minister as he opens the debate on the NaRRA.
Tabling at commencement of
let me take that off. Sorry about that.
It's on the National Reconstruction and Resilience. I rise to address this Honourable House on the tabling and commencement of debate on the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority Bill 2026. And this bill is one of the most consequential pieces of legislation that this Parliament has been asked to consider in the modern era of Jamaica's development. Jamaica has long been described as a country of great promise. We have an incomparable geographic position. We have a globally recognized brand in music, sports, culture, and tourism that are the envy of countries much larger than us. We have a diaspora of extraordinary talent and capital spread across the world's most prosperous economies. We have natural resources, agricultural potential, and strategic location at the crossroads of the hemispheric trade routes. Development plans, consultancy reports, and policy discussions have outlined Jamaica's transformation for decades. The vision of what Jamaica can be has existed in our national.
Okay, so if you're just joining us, we are laying out the NaRRA bill. This is the Prime Minister of Jamaica in the Parliament setting out the NaRRA bill. Now, the reason why this is important for you, Jamaica, is that in your lifetime, you will not see anything like this. And I want people who are in Trelawney, people in Westmoreland, yes, people in St. James especially, to pay attention, people in St. Elizabeth to pay attention. This is the moment for Jamaica, and we must not miss this moment. Very, very important that we get this right. So here we have the Prime Minister laying out the NaRRA bill. Let's go back to the Prime Minister.
National consciousness for generations. What has been missing is not the dream. What has been missing is the institutional machinery to turn that dream into delivered reality.
There you have it. So it's not the vision, not the dream that is missing. It's the institutionalized reality. What he means by that is that we need to create the systems. The systems. Yes, because it doesn't matter how much you dream. You have to wake up from the dream. Dreams don't put you anywhere. You have to get up, create the framework for the dream to work. Yes, and we are too laid back as a society. We are too laid back as a country. Yeah, and we need to be involved intellectually so, accountability so, for these things to work. The Prime Minister is laying out NaRRA. Let's go back to him.
To take the plans from the shelves and drive them through to completion at pace.
There you go. Take the plans from the shelf. So we can have all the plans. Yes? When PJ Patterson was Prime Minister, we had all of this, committees setting up, they studied this, they studied that, and they put them in a file. We don't want things in file anymore. We want to drive them. These projects need to be driven. And that is what NaRRA is setting out to do. The Prime Minister is laying out NaRRA. Let's go back to the most honorable Prime Minister.
Hurricane Melissa, as terrible as it has been, has given Jamaica something rare. A moment of national urgency, a critical mass of international financing, and a mandate for transformation that transcends the ordinary pace of government. This bill is how we seize that moment. We are not restoring a pre-Melissa Jamaica. We are building a post-Melissa Jamaica that the generations before us dreamed of, and the generation.
Well, there's a little bit of break in the Prime
Generations after us will inherit.
Okay. Okay. So there's a little bit of break in the Prime Minister there.
This bill has been crafted to deliver the institutional architecture through which Jamaica will convert catastrophe into competitive advantage and become a stronger, more productive, and more prosperous nation. The world has already signaled its confidence in Jamaica's capacity to lead this resurgence.
Did you hear that? I hope I can play that again. The world is actually using Jamaica as a poster to lead the resurgence. The global financial institutions, the World Bank, the IMF, they have reposed confidence in Jamaica to do this. What a time for Jamaica to shine. And I hope the opposition understands this, you know. And I hope the people of Jamaica understands this also. This is not the time to play politics. Let's go back to the Prime Minister.
The International Monetary Fund, the World Bank Group, the Inter-American Development Bank, the Development Bank of the Latin America and the Caribbean, CAF, the Caribbean Development Bank, have jointly committed a coordinated financing package of up to $6.7 billion US, the single largest and most comprehensive development financing package ever assembled for Jamaica. These institutions have commended the government's decision to establish NaRRA, noting that a few countries act so quickly to set up a modern, best practice central coordinating body to drive recovery with discipline, transparency, and long-term vision. Madam Speaker, the US $6.7 billion financing package is historic. However, the assessed damage and loss from Hurricane Melissa is US $12.2 billion. That means there is a gap that public financing alone cannot close, and that multilateral borrowing alone should not be asked to carry. Because every dollar that borrowing is used for, it's an addition to the national debt that future generations of Jamaicans must service. Madam Speaker, private capital, both domestic and international, must be mobilized, crowded in, and put to work alongside public investment. This is precisely why NaRRA incorporates not just approved reconstruction and resilience projects, which are government-led projects, but also designated strategic projects under FAST, which are private sector-led projects. This is to ensure that both public and private investment are properly coordinated and coordinated with synergy. I rise to address...
There you go. So that's the Prime Minister laying out NaRRA. And I hope that you heard that it's a $12.2 billion United States dollar project. $12.2 billion. When Harry comes later on, Harry can tell you how much Jamaica dollars that is. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. So the cost to rebuild Jamaica is $12.2 billion United States dollars. The government, they have secured 6.7 billion of that money to kickstart the process. So we have the Prime Minister laying out NaRRA. Now we are going to hear the Prime Minister answering
Resilience Authority bill. I rise to address this Honorable 2026. And this bill is one of the most...
Sorry, now we are going to have the Prime Minister answer the questions. So there are some questions that the Prime Minister is going to go on to answer. And let's see if we can pick that up. The Prime Minister is now answering some questions relating to NaRRA. Let's go in and listen to the Prime Minister as he answers.
Of government is not sufficient to manage reconstruction. That is a fair question. However, some have asked why the existing machinery of government is not sufficient to manage reconstruction.
All right. So the question is, why? Why do you need NaRRA? Why couldn't we work with the various agencies of government to do this work? The Prime Minister is answering that question.
That is a fair question. However, the existing administrative framework was never designed to coordinate simultaneously and at emergency pace a reconstruction program of the scale and complexity that is needed for post-Hurricane Melissa recovery.
All right, so you heard that? We don't have the capacity. When they designed the agencies of government, they did not foresee a process, a reconstruction process of this magnitude, requiring 12.2 billion United States dollars. So, having laid out NaRRA, the Prime Minister now is telling you why we have to set up this reconstruction agency. And simple answer, we don't have the capacity. In other words, if you leave it to the current capacity of the government, it will not be done, or it will be done very inefficiently. Let's hear the Prime Minister a little more on answering that question.
Construction. It does not allow us to easily overcome fragmentation, duplication, and interagency coordination failures that have too often showed and slowed up project delivery. It was not designed to interface on a unified platform with US $6.7 billion in multilateral financing, the private sector capital, and government appropriations in real time. The centralization of reconstruction efforts following major hurricanes has many precedents globally. After Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans in 2005, the United States established special purpose housing authorities with expedited powers. After the Christchurch earthquake of 2011, New Zealand established the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority. After the Great East Japan earthquake of 2011, Japan established a dedicated reconstruction agency with elevated legal powers and a fixed mandate. In the Caribbean, Dominica established the Climate Resilience Execution Agency following the devastation of Hurricane Maria. In Jamaica as well, former Prime Minister Patterson established the Office of National Reconstruction after Hurricane Ivan.
Okay, so that's important because that's not new. So NaRRA may be the first of its kind, but as the Prime Minister just outlined, the People's National Party under PJ Patterson established an agency to manage the reconstruction. So history here is important, okay? And the Prime Minister outlined other countries, how they have gone about that. All right, so the Prime Minister is answering the question as to why NaRRA. Let's listen in a little bit more.
In each case, the defining principle was the same. Existing administrative machinery, however competent in normal times, is not equipped for post-catastrophe reconstruction at scale. A focused, centralized, and empowered mechanism is required.
Okay, so there you have it. The current administrative bureaucratic process existing in Jamaica is not sufficient to manage the reconstruction. Okay? The systems of government, as they are designed, cannot manage a recovery of this scale. Okay? So we have gone through two pieces already. We have laid out NaRRA. We have answered the why. So what is NaRRA? We have taken care of that. Why do we need NaRRA? We have taken care of that. Now the Prime Minister is going to address the governance debate. The governance debate. And this is what is kind of happening in the Parliament, the governance structure of the debate. Let's see if we can go back in and hear from the Prime Minister as he goes on now to the whole matter of the concerns in terms of the governance structure.
The governance debate that has developed around this bill. Element I now wish to address directly the governance debate that has developed around this bill. Elements of governance models embedded in this bill, for example, the absence of a governing board, are akin to that of an executive agency. The executive agency model is not an invention of this administration. The executive agency.
Let me pause the Prime Minister and say something here. What you are seeing here, and I'll address this later in the notes, is a Prime Minister that is technocratic and competent. This is a Prime Minister that is showing technocratic competence and governance at its finest. And I think that the people of Jamaica ought to trust the leadership that is on display, because it is leadership that is tested. Andrew Holness is leadership tested, proven. And if we want any greater evidence that Holness is prepared for this, we only need to look back at COVID. COVID was the worst health scare the world saw in our lifetime. Millions of persons died. Jamaica managed its COVID arrangement so well that Holness won 49 seats. It's the same Holness. If anything, he has gotten better. The Holness that managed COVID is the Holness that is managing Melissa. And I think that the people of Jamaica ought to use that as a measuring rod in terms of the type of leader that this man is. If there were any doubts of his capacity, yes, his brilliance, his vision, just look back at how he managed Jamaica through COVID. A much younger Holness. Now Holness is more of a mature statesman. Yeah. And so what you are seeing here as he outlines this bill is a technocratic, informed man who is aware of the circumstances and aware of what is needed, what is necessary to get the job done. And so don't be distracted by the opposition's, bawling and squealing and trying to suggest that somehow there is something of foul at play here and oversight is necessary. Those are the political theater. The people of Jamaica are tired of that. What people want is to get their roads built, get their roofs back on, get their communities rebuilt. Yes? Put their lives back together. Okay? So we have laid out NaRRA. We have answered the question. The Prime Minister is now addressing the governance debate. Let's go back to the Prime Minister.
The model was conceived in the mid-1990s as an important feature of Jamaica's public sector reform agenda, specifically to cure a defect that had plagued our institutional landscape for decades. Madam Speaker, several of the agencies that Jamaicans interact with every day are structured as executive agencies. The Jamaica Customs Agency is an executive agency, it has no board. The Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, the Registrar General's Department, prior to being subsumed into the National Identification and Registration Authority, NaRRA, the National Works Agency, all operate as executive agencies reporting directly to the minister responsible for the portfolio. This is a creation of the mid-1990s, a creation of the Patterson administration. In May 2001, Dr. the Honorable Carlton Davis, then Cabinet Secretary, addressed a UA Mind conference on executive agencies and set out with characteristic candor why Jamaica's traditional institutional arrangements had failed to deliver the quality of public services the country deserved. I commend this address to every member of this House because what he said then provides important insights relevant to the structure of NaRRA. Dr. Davis observed that Jamaica's public service had its origins in a command and control departmental model that worked reasonably well in the early days of independence when the private sector was relatively underdeveloped and the demands of government were less complex.
I just want to bring to the House that
No. Here's the Prime Minister addressing the whole governance issue and the leader of the opposition. Look at the time that Mr. Golding chose to disrupt the Prime Minister's presentation. And for what? Carlton Davis was not a Labour Party man, you know. And what the Prime Minister is pointing out there is so critical. Critical. Yes? For us to understand where we are coming from. A country that came out of colonialism had its structures, its governance structures built upon control of state versus private sector. What is Mr. Golding interrupting the Prime Minister now for? Why not allow the Prime Minister to set, because remember the Prime Minister is opening the debate. He don't need to be interrupted at this point. I don't even know why the Speaker allowed it. Mr. Golding will get his time as he got it on Tuesday to say what he needs to say. Let the Prime Minister outline the debate, open the debate. Make your notes, and when your time to talk come, you say it. Let's listen to him.
mention that something that the Prime Minister has said is not actually accurate. The Executive Agencies Act provides for the establishment of advisory boards for executive agencies. And I'm aware that certainly Companies Office has an advisory board. I believe Customs does as well. And if you look at Section 4 of the Executive Agencies Act, it's...
You know, we need to ask ourselves, is Mr. Golding aware of what is happening in the Parliament? Golding is a lawyer. Is Mr. Golding aware of what is happening? Or Mr. Golding is just wanting to say something? Is Mr. Golding just want to say something there, so? Because I can't see why that needs to be an intervention and disrupt the Prime Minister's presentation. Mr. Golding need to ease himself, you know, man. Can't tell Mr. Golding to just ease himself, man. Golding, your time to talk will come.
Specifically says that there should be an advisory board when Section 5, there shall be establishment and functions of an advisory board. Every scheme of management has to have that. So it's not true to say that there is no oversight.
Madam Speaker, I have two options in front of me. One option is to respond to the leader of the opposition and not detract from my presentation.
You're the Prime Minister there. Detract from his presentation. The Prime Minister is opening the debate. If the Prime Minister says something that Golding thinks is not accurate, Golding has a chance to respond when he speaks in the debate. There is no need at that time to have interrupted the Prime Minister. No need at all. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if it is within the parliamentary process, if it was correct, if there was a correct interruption there. Because the Prime Minister is simply opening the debate. Golding will get his chance to talk. Golding is coming across as obstructionist. Someone who is deliberately trying to derail something here. And we know Golding is under pressure, you know. I mean, we know Mr. Golden is under pressure, and somehow Golden is trying to, shore up his base. But, allow the Prime Minister to talk, Mr. Golden. Let's hear the Prime Minister as he responds.
The other option is to respond to the leader of the opposition. Because, as is being said, sort of I think the country needs to understand this presentation is not speaking about an advisory board. This presentation is speaking about a board of governance, which I believe all members understood that this is what we are speaking about, and that there is a significant difference between an advisory board and a board of governance.
No, you think Mr. Golden don't know that? Say what you want about Mr. Golden. Mr. Golden is an accomplished lawyer, was the Minister of Justice. Think Mr. Golden don't know that? You wonder about Mr. Golden's. As a matter of fact, we need to wonder about the opposition's motive in all of this. Because quite frankly, they are not coming across looking out for the interests of Jamaica. And the people in Westmoreland, and the people in St. Elizabeth, and the people in Trelawney, and the people in St. James need to listen and be aware of what is happening. Which party is looking out for your interests? And that is a question that needs to go straight to the ballot in 2029, 2030. Let's go back to the Prime Minister. Time is going. It's 5 minutes to 8 o'clock.
The essence of the critique of the direction of the legislation is about governance. Yes, the law provides for the appointment by the CEO of an advisory board, recommends the members of the advisory board not to hold him to account for governance issues, but as a mechanism for him or her to consult with on matters specific, especially to the technical elements of the agencies. I think the country needs to appreciate that there is not just a significant difference, but Madam Speaker, the advisory boards are not required to treat with matters of governance, accountability, and all the other issues of administration. When we are speaking about a governance board, we're primarily now speaking about how these entities will be held to account, how policy will be implemented, matters to deal with performance. Now, I want to make it clear, Madam Speaker, NaRRA will be established in the form of an executive agency. It is not new, and I believe, Madam Speaker, that we should, as I said earlier, I commend the address of Dr. Davies, former cabinet secretary. And he observed that Jamaica's public service had its origins in a command and control departmental model that worked reasonably well in the early years of independence, when the private sector was relatively underdeveloped and the demands of the government were less complex. But as the government grew and the private sector became more competitive, the model proved increasingly inadequate. The response over time was to create statutory corporations and the government companies that were meant to be more flexible more competitive in attracting talent, and more efficient in delivering services. But as Dr. Davis noted in his address, these bodies, with some notable exceptions, did not live up to expectations. They operated as...
Let me just pause there to address something that I see in the chat. There's a teach in the chat speaking about absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Now, teach, you have to understand the word absolute to even comment on that. And I'm sure you don't. And I don't want to be rude or disrespectful to you. But you are speaking of something, sir, that you don't understand. When you speak of absolute power, do you understand what absolute means? Because you cannot use absolute power in a democracy because there are no absolute. Do you understand, sir? I'm sure if I invite you to debate that with me, you're not going to come up. Well, don't come in my chat and set things out that you can't yourself explain, because I'd ask you to explain absolute. There is no person, sir, on earth that has absolute power. Okay? No person. There's not even in autocratic society is there absolute power. Don't get into matters that you don't understand, sir. Anyway.
As monopoly providers of services with no market pressure to perform. The Accountant General, as nominal shareholder, was a poor substitute for the private sector shareholder who demands returns. Dr. Davis made a fundamental point about accountability, and I quote, "Accountability of these bodies tend to be diffused between minister, chairman, board, and chief executive." Madam Speaker, when you have diffused accountability, when no single person is clearly and unambiguously responsible for results, the instinct of every institution is to protect process rather than to deliver outcomes. The executive agency model was developed precisely to cure that effect. Under the executive agency model, there is a clear accountability in the chief executive officer reporting directly to the responsible minister, supported by an advisory board rather than a governing board.
Okay, so then the Prime Minister addresses the governance debate. The governance debate. Firstly, he sets out NaRRA. Secondly, he answers the questions. Thirdly, he addresses the governance debate. You don't need to worry about the noise. Yes? Look at the seal. The Prime Minister is giving you the seal. Golden, them make up nice. They make up nice. The Prime Minister is giving you the seal. The issues of governance are real, but the way the thing is structured, it is structured in a way where accountability is built into the system. There is one final piece of tape I want to play for you, and this one now addresses the oversight issues. So there are 4 things that we did: the laying out of the NaRRA, the answering of the questions, the addressing of the governance debate, and finally, the oversight issues. The Prime Minister is now going to deal with the whole matter of the oversight issues, and we will have a little to say on
and what we will have in place of a governing board. Because some commentary has proceeded as if there is no oversight at all. The oversight.
Okay, so now it's oversight. How is NaRRA to be accounted for, overseen, looked over? Prime Minister is speaking about that.
It is robust, and it is modeled on the most successful accountability mechanism in Jamaica's modern history. As I announced in my budget presentation, the Jamaica Reconstruction and Resilience Oversight Committee, JAMROC, will be established to provide independent public oversight of NaRRA's performance. Madam Speaker, I am not here saying that the executive agency model has worked perfectly. Decades of experience have revealed certain challenges. In particular, while executive agency CEOs are engaged on performance-based contracts with accountability for results, the practical reality has not always matched that design. Often, the targets have lacked the rigor needed to drive real accountability, and the consequences for underperformance have been insufficient. We are conscious of those shortcomings. We will address these in how the NaRRA CEO is held to account. Performance evaluation of the CEO will be conducted by the Cabinet Office, will be with structured input from JAMROC as well as other stakeholders. Performance evaluation will be grounded in the achievement of clearly defined targets and measurable outcomes, not merely process compliance, not activity reports, but delivered results. The people of Jamaica will be able to judge through JAMROC public reporting whether NaRRA is performing. And it is not the accountability, and if it is not, the accountability chain will be clear, direct, and consequential. JAMROC will operate similarly to the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, which was established to monitor the implementation of Jamaica's economic reform program. Madam Speaker, similar to the economic reform program, Reconstruction is not a government project. It is a national project. Its oversight must reflect that. That is why I'm announcing today that the government will make provision for JAMROC to include a member nominated by the leader of the opposition. EPOC was created at a moment of national crisis no less acute than what we face today, though different in character. In 2013, Jamaica's public debt had reached approximately 147% of GDP. We were one of the most indebted countries in the world. We had limited access to international capital markets. EPOC did not derive its authority from an elaborate statutory superstructure. It was built on policy commitment, public credibility, broad national consensus, and the personal integrity of its members. It brought together representatives of the private sector, trade unions, academia, civil society, and the financial sector united in a single mission to hold government accountable publicly and transparently to the terms of Jamaica's economic reform program. The results speak for themselves. Jamaica halved our national debt burden in a decade, and we did so across successive political administrations, which is itself an extraordinary demonstration of national consensus. The EPOC model has been hailed globally as a case study. Madam Speaker, it is unquestionable that the EPOC model was highly successful. JAMROC is designed on exactly that model.
There you go. So the Prime Minister there laying out NaRRA, answering questions, addressing the governance debate, and of course, speaking to us about oversight issues. Now, I have something else here that I want to do for you, but let me do that after I just speak to you a little bit about the Prime Minister himself. So 5 months. As a matter of fact, it's more than 5 months. More than 5 months after the hurricane, thousands of Jamaicans are still searching for a way forward. You know, people lost their roofs, livelihoods were disrupted, communities were suspended between memory and recovery. The country is not simply rebuilding, you know. The country is deciding what kind of rebuilding it believes in. And so tonight we look at the government's answer. The government's answer is NaRRA. But before policy, there is reality. Because the damage was not abstract. NaRRA's, the Hurricane Melissa's damage was not abstract. It had geography. It had weight. It had consequences. I remember going downtown Kingston and tomatoes were $800 a pound. Those are consequences. Yam right now is $500 a pound. That's a consequence. Because the damage, as I said, is not abstract. Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, the breadbasket of Jamaica, St. James, Hanover, Trelawney, 5 parishes where roughly a third of the housing stock suffered severe or total damage. Water and electricity did not return quickly enough. Where life did not pause in these parishes, it was interrupted. Melissa interrupted the lives of the people in these parishes. And so on March 19th, Andrew Holness tabled the NaRRA bill. And he described it not as another bureaucratic bill, but as a deliberate intervention in how Jamaica executes. And that word executes matter here, because this man is proven to be an executor of projects for Jamaica. Because the argument behind NaRRA is not that Jamaica lacks effort. It is that Jamaica lacks synchronization. Not that we lack the effort, but that we lack the synchronized efforts to get things done. We have the strength, but it does not always move together. And I want to tell you that a nation, like an orchestra, can have skilled players. You can have skilled players in every section, yet you fail to produce a harmony without coordination. Without coordination, you can't produce any harmony if you're not playing the thing together. You can't have your bassy over there, so playing his own thing. Your lead guitar over there, so playing their own thing. You need synchronization. That's where the harmony comes in. And what NaRRA is seeking to do is to harmonize things in Jamaica. That's the core diagnosis. NaRRA proposes to correct a problem that we have in Jamaica. A single point of coordination. Yes. A center of technical execution where approvals are fast-tracked, procurement are streamlined, and public-private partnerships designed to scale the recovery beyond incremental repair. Members of Parliament can't do it. You give each member of parliament $50 million. What do you think going to come out of that? That is going to rebuild the country? You think the members of parliament are going to take the $50 million and rebuild the country? What technical expertise do they have? NaRRA is not meant to be slow governance. Jamaica needs speed. It is meant to be directed urgency. We need urgency at this time. And it carries scale. 1.15 billion United States dollars in potential financing with a 5-year mandate. That financing is not just money, you know. I want you to understand this. That financing is not just money. It is scale. It is signal. Because in global development, capital does not move because of sympathy. And sorry people, sorry for you, and give you the money, you know. It moves on confidence. And this is one of the things that I think a lot of the arguments have missed in Jamaica. The confidence that has been reposed in the Jamaican economy. And Jamaica, in this moment, has attracted that confidence. That is not something to be overlooked. It is something to understand. Because multilateral partners are not simply responding to need. If they were doing that, Haiti wouldn't be in the state it is in. The IMF and the World Bank, they're not responding just to need. They are responding to governance credibility. That system of belief that we can absorb the funding and convert it into outcomes. This is not free money. This is money that we have to pay back. But it is money, if we use it well, can be converted into outcomes that can generate wealth, jobs, and a future for Jamaica and Jamaicans. Because other countries have faced similar devastation and have not received this level of coordinated financial backing or structured recovery architecture. The difference is not always damage. The difference is trust in execution. And I want to pause here, Jamaicans, because as I started out by saying earlier, that the adversarial nature of our politics affects our thinking. Commendations must go to the government for managing the economy so well over the last 10 or so years, as a matter of fact, since 2016, that they are able to attract this type of investment. You think bank lend broke people money? You can't go to the bank and ask for a loan and you can't prove how you're going to pay it back. The fact that the multilaterals were prepared to lend Jamaica this money suggests that the government under wholeness is on top of things. And that's not political to say. Those are facts. If Jamaica was poorly managed, wouldn't get the money. And that is why NaRRA matters beyond Jamaica's borders, because it is a test of the national capacity of the country under pressure. How is Jamaica going to be responding? The capacity of Jamaica under pressure. Because recovery is never just technical. Recovery is also moral. It is about whether the systems will serve the people. It is whether urgency is going to be matched by the structures created by NaRRA. It is whether the people who are suffering will be aligned or they'll remain fragmented. And as I pointed out in programs past, it is possible that Jamaica could be hit again with a hurricane this year. Now we pray it don't happen, but we don't control the weather. And those people who were saying that his Andrew Holness caused the hurricane, you know, maybe you should start praying that he not send another one. If you really believe that he did, start praying now. So NaRRA is an attempt to close a gap. But as it seeks to close this gap in the country, it does so into a political system that is not neutral. Now, what we really need, you know, is political collaboration. We need political collaboration at a moment of national crisis. But alas, the politics is getting involved because Jamaica's politics is largely in cycles. Because the next election is very much not in the NaRRA bill, but in the NaRRA debate. You don't see 2030 in the NaRRA bill, but you definitely see it or you hear it in the debate. When Peter Bunting spoke in Parliament on Tuesday, he had that on his mind. So did Damian Crawford and Mark Golding. And because of our adversarial democracy, success is not only policy achievement, it is the political currency of the time. Because here is the real question, or maybe not the question, but a statement. If NaRRA succeeds, then it strengthens the government's claim to competence and will give them a good shot at winning the next election. If NaRRA succeeds, Andrew Holness and the Jamaica Labour Party will be strong going into 2030. But then if it falters, it becomes evidence that the government has overreached and it strengthens the opposition. And so the debate in Parliament is not only about the design of the bill, it is political theater. And the people of Jamaica need to understand that. It is who can own the narrative, who can walk away from the debate looking like the better party, the politics of it. And that is unfortunate, you know, because while we peddle theater in Parliament, 5 parishes are struggling to put their lives back together. And those parishes include people. The contest for 2030 is being shaped by this NaRRA bill. That is the tension in the democracy. Because if the government delivers, it becomes the opposition's vulnerability. Now, I could tell the opposition how they could strategize, but I'm not going to advise them. I'm not going to advise them. They don't support this program. Opposition scrutiny can become government's delay. But a delay in the bill is delaying people's lives. And that tension, the national urgency can become political. But politics moves in cycles. Recovery does not. The politics is cycles. Recovery doesn't move in any cycle. The storm does not wait for consensus. The damaged roofs does not wait for committees to sit and agree. And families who were displaced does not wait for Parliament to align. So the deep question is not whether debate should happen. The debate should happen. The question is whether debate can occur while displacing momentum. Because Jamaica does not lack strength. What it lacks is synchronization, as the Prime Minister eloquently outlines. Because if synchronization fails, then strength disperses. Because when agriculture slows down in St. Elizabeth, you feel it in the coronation market. When St. Elizabeth can grow scallion, Montego Bay, Portland, and all the rest of the country feels it. When tourism weakens in St. James and Trelawney, foreign exchange pressure rises nationally. When the tourism slows down in St. James, it puts pressure on the dollar. It's felt in Kingston. When housing stalls in Westmoreland and Hanover, labor mobility and community stability are disrupted. Loss does not remain local, it compounds. So what is happening in these 5 parishes is affecting the whole of Jamaica. That is the multiplier effect of the delay. And that is why speed matters. Not just speed alone, but synchronization. The structure that allows the speed to move forward. Because speed without structure is chaos. You can have speed and you don't have no structure. What you're going to have is chaos. And Jamaica has been asked to believe in something difficult, Jamaica has been asked to believe that the government can move quickly without becoming careless. That it can centralize execution without losing accountability. That belief is not automatic. It must be earned. And that is why the issues were addressed, issues of governance. So what is NaRRA ultimately? It's not just a bill. It is a question posed to the country. NaRRA is a question that is posed to the country. Can Jamaica convert fragmentation into coordination? Can we do it? Can we convert fragmentation into coordination? Can it convert urgency into execution? Can it convert disaster into structured recovery rather than prolonged recovery drift? And beneath all of that lies a simple truth. The task is not to rebuild Jamaica quickly. It is to rebuild Jamaica coherently. Because speed without coherence is fragile. But coherence under pressure becomes resilience. And that is the choice before the country. Do you support the NaRRA bill? Before we go on, let's listen to the Prime Minister as he reflects on what NaRRA is about. And this is showing a Prime Minister that listens, someone that is listening to the concerns, but someone who is also quite aware of the urgency of this moment. Let's listen to the Prime Minister.
NaRRA is not designed to circumvent, bypass for the purpose of facilitating corruption or lack of transparency. It's not anti-competitive. It's not exclusionary. And because of our history and our liberal democracy, it is important that stakeholders question everything the government proposes. We used to say, the role of the opposition is to oppose everything, propose nothing, and bring down the government. That's what the thought was, but we never acted that way. No, I took the view that we must be constructive. So even in things like getting the IMF program on board and getting all the legislation required by the IMF, we took a proactive and constructive approach and worked with the government to ensure that this national objective was achieved. So there is a time and a place where the classic definition of how the opposition should operate should not apply.
There you go. So the Prime Minister is telling you that he is disappointed with how the opposition is behaving. And I believe that is a discussion for another night, but it is a discussion that is worth having. Because we have made the point that the opposition seem to prefer failure to advance themselves. But the Prime Minister is letting us understand that his opposition, when he was leader of the opposition, he took a different approach. And he's Prime Minister today. So then, opposition parties can take a different approach and still win government. What did I tell you the other evening about George Bush? George Bush, when he ran against Bill Clinton, left a note in the Oval Office telling Bill Clinton, I am rooting for you. It was a tough campaign, but you are now the president. And therefore, Bush wanted America to win. And we need to ask Peter Bunting, we need to ask Mark Golding, we need to ask Nikisha Burchell. By the way, I think they should move Nikisha from behind the opposition leader. I don't know why they put her there. She not. we need to ask the opposition, do you want Jamaica to win? Are you rooting for Jamaica? Is the opposition rooting for Jamaica? Holness is now Prime Minister for the third time. He has won 3 terms. And he says that when he was opposition leader, he supported the government. Not on everything, but there comes a time in a country's life when politics need to take a back seat, where statesmanship must come to the fore, and the disappointment, and a member, not a member, but a comrade spoke to me today and told me, the very thing that he feels. The comrade was telling me that the party has not operated well, that the strategy of the party in response to Melissa is weak. And it is going to hurt the party. It's going to hurt the People's National Party. This is not the time for adversarial politics. People are suffering. And a lot of the people who are suffering, sadly, are persons from constituencies represented by the People's National Party. And you would have thought that the opposition People's National Party would have been pushing for urgency so that their people can receive support. Their people. But I suspect that they are blind to the moment. And the Prime Minister here is expressing disappointment. And I am also disappointed in the leader of the opposition. I believe that he has failed. He has failed his country. He has failed his party. And I don't see how he's going to recover from this. You don't have to blindly support NaRRA, Mr. Golden. But you should open your presentation and tell the country that you support Jamaica's reconstruction. There's no perfect bill. There's no perfect piece of legislation. There's no perfect law. That's why we have defense lawyers and prosecutors. It's how you interpret. The Jamaican Constitution itself is under review. Support reconstruction. This is a NaRRA moment. This is a moment that every Jamaican must understand and support. We miss this, we don't have another chance to come back. Let's pick up back the Prime Minister as he expressed disappointment in his opposition counterpart, Mark Golding. Mark Golding is letting down a lot of people, I wonder if he can recover. Is it too late? Go ahead, Mr. Holness.
And that would speak to the maturity of the democracy. It speaks to building social partnerships. And that's what we did to build the social partnerships to get us to good fiscal management, to put in place fiscal rules. Now is such a time. The reconstruction of NaRRA really should be approached as a national consensus. And I'm speaking here, I said it in Parliament, that has to be the approach. We're not saying that the bill mustn't be criticized. I'm not saying that the bill can't be improved and refined, but there is a space to dispense with political theatrics and performance and focus on the interests of the nation. And I think the NaRRA bill provides us with this opportunity. The bill comes with a very short sunset clause, so it's not going to be there forever. It's a very limited period of time to get a certain set number of projects executed.
Now, if that is so, that's a very important piece of information. There is a sunset clause in the bill. Peter Bunting, you know that. Dayton Campbell, you know that. Mark Golding, you know that. We must get NaRRA through the Parliament, through the Senate, quickly. Don't have a lot of time. We're fiddling around with our country's development. How is that acceptable? In Jamaicans, how is that acceptable? How is it acceptable that our parliamentarians are fiddling around, debating issues here? And you can correct things as you move on, they construct the thing in flight. Pass the bill and let's get the reconstruction on the way. Yeah. Parliament is always there as oversight, And Mr. Golding can always go to Parliament and raise concerns. Julian Robinson is chairman of the PAC. Can table questions to the Prime Minister in Parliament. There are other avenues to address the whole matter of accountability.
And those projects can change the face of Jamaica. The question is also asked, then why not do it through the existing bureaucracy? And I'll give you a few examples. We have a program to restore bridges in Jamaica. It is a program in collaboration with the government of the United Kingdom. We'll be looking at a number of bridges across Jamaica that are in a really bad state of disrepair. Now, the process for public investment in Jamaica starts with investment appraisal. Then when you pass the investment appraisal, then you go to the refinement and further project development, then you go to procurement, then you go to contracting, and then you go to execution. The first 4 stages are usually longer than the execution stage. So you're going through all of this, and an elderly gentleman trying to get where he's going, though the bridge is cordoned off and people know you shouldn't go on this bridge, but he's trying to get where he's going. He falls off the bridge, which is one of the bridges to be addressed by the program, and dies. Now, how do I balance this? Who takes responsibility? And fix the bridge without going through that process? Because the same people here will criticize me and say, I'm breaking the rules. But people literally are dying because we're moving slowly. That's the reality. That's the reality. The existing process can't carry us through what we need to do here. And the existing process must address the things that are already in the pipeline to be done. So these new projects will displace. So we want what is already in the pipeline to get done, the new projects and those that we pull out of the pipeline to get those done quickly.
Okay, so there you have it. Sunset clause. The Prime Minister saying that, my words, he's disappointed in the opposition's posture. And of course, there are so many things that need to be done and to be done quickly. Now, I know I'm out of time, moderator, but for I may have to do a part 2 on this because I wanted to synchronize everything for you and show you 5 things here. I probably let me get Scratchy up. If you have him there, moderator, I could take Scratchy, I could take Harry, I could take Protecting 17 minutes to 9 o'clock, 17 minutes to 9 o'clock in Jamaica, 17 minutes to 10 o'clock in Florida. This could be broken down into 5 areas. 5 areas. One is what I call suffering and storm aftermath. Suffering and storm aftermath. Secondly, systemic strain and fragmentation. Systemic strain, fragmentation. Thirdly, strategic statecraft. That's the design. Fourthly, stakeholder scrutiny and political tension. And finally, sustainable strength and national renewal. So there are 5 areas that we broke the NaRRA bill down into: suffering and storm aftermath, systemic strain, fragmentation, strategic statecraft, that's the creation of the bill, stakeholder scrutiny, political tension, and of course, sustainable strength and national renewal. Now, in the quiet aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, Jamaica is not only measuring damage, it is measuring direction. You have to understand the measurement of damage, the measurement of direction. And in that searching moment, leadership matters. Credit must be given where credit is due. Andrew Holness has moved beyond the language of recovery as routine, and he has moved into the larger and harder language of systems. This is a systems prime minister, which is why he's going to do well, you know. He's going to do well. Let me tell you this. Systems are better than people. Systems are what you use to drive any business, organization, and a country. Holness is putting structure to Jamaica, and he's using the structure to execute. He should be commended. Holness should be commended because he's the vision behind NaRRA. And NaRRA is not ordinary governance, you know. It is an attempt to re-engineer Jamaica. Because the ground beneath our feet was shifted, and Holness is re-engineering the society. Big up. By the way, if you are wanting to support our program, our moderator will put out the information. If you are on YouTube, the information is on your screen right now. Please remember that we are relying on your support to continue the project. Vision of NaRRA. It's not ordinary governance. It's an attempt to re-engineer how a nation responds when the ground shifts. Never happened before. And probably will not happen again. Good night to you, caller. Hello? No, we don't have anybody there. Okay, take that. Okay? And it is critical to understand that to do so, and to do so in a way that has already signaled fiscal credibility to the world, unlocking confidence from multilateral partners and positioning Jamaica not as a perpetual recipient of aid, but as a structured partner in reconstruction. That is leadership. That is leadership in the deepest sense. But because we are blinded by politics, we can't see beyond these things. It's not only responding to crisis, it is reshaping the architecture of the response itself. And so NaRRA stands as more than policy. NaRRA stands as possibility. Stands as possibility. But possibility to become reality requires something larger than politics. It requires a national alignment. And so what is happening in our country today is a national alignment. And this is the moment for Jamaicans, especially people in Westmoreland, people in St. Elizabeth, St. James, Hanover, Trelawney, to transcend the gravitational pull of the political contest. Because it pulls you in, Not because politics is irrelevant, but because recovery is not partisan. Recovery is practical, it's urgent, and it's human. There's a time for debate, and there's a time for building. This is the time for building, because what NaRRA offers, if stewarded with transparency, discipline, and care, is not merely faster recovery. It is repositioning Jamaica. Repositioning Jamaica on the developmental trajectory. Brilliant. Want to go to the callers now. If you're online and you want to come up and comment on anything that you have heard, then it's your time to send a request to the moderator, and we will take you up and have a talk with you. Who do we have? Good evening. Good evening, caller. Not hearing anyone there. Not hearing anyone there. Okay, but I saw.
Our neighbor sent you a message. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. All right. Great. Okay. All right. Mr. Johnson. Good evening to you, sir. Hello. Good evening, Johnson. Hello. Okay, are you hearing me, sir?
Neighbor, he will have to join again. His background is just too noisy.
Okay, all right. All right. All right. So we don't have any. I'm sure we had. All right. So let me continue then. Okay, he's back. He's back. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm fine. You can't get a quieter background, man.
You still hearing the noise?
Yes, move away from the noise, man. Another caller. Westlife Politics, good evening to you. Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening. I am hearing you. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Yes. Hi. Wife style. Yeah, great. Wife style politics. No, what type of politics is that? Wife style? What about politics is that? Oh, you play politics with your husband? Wow, what type of politics? Tell me a little bit about that. All right. Well, I'm going to have to check it out. But how you doing? What's on your mind? Uh-huh. On Tuesday. Yes. Why you call it misunderstanding? What? Uh-huh. Well, tell us how you see it, ma'am. Uh-huh. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Hold on there, ma'am. You see, there is a real instinct among what are called loyalists to defend the party line. You know, the circling of the wagon when something like this happens. But hold on, ma'am. Blunt public attacks on Mrs. Ford are strategically counterproductive and they are going to hurt the party, ma'am. Because they, yeah, no, ma'am, they don't listen. They don't listen. They don't protect the Jamaica Labour Party. They weaken its most valuable asset right now. And what is the Labour Party's most valuable asset right now, ma'am? And I will tell you. The Labour Party's most valuable asset is credibility on under scrutiny, ma'am. The credibility of the party is now being tested under scrutiny. Let me tell you something, you see, ma'am. More than maybe 90% of Jamaicans will not read the NaRRA bill. They will not read the NaRRA bill. What they will read is a narrative that is being shaped by the political process. Okay? And there are two things that needs to be pointed out here. Number one, two distinctions. And I'm bringing you back in soon. Just bear with me. Is what is called unity of voice. The other is legitimacy of process. Supporters attacking Fort are prioritizing unity. The voters, ma'am, are speaking to legitimacy. Unity will not win the election. It is legitimacy that will. And a system that allows internal challenge signals that this is a government that thinks, that this is a government that opens a broad tent, and this is a government that welcomes criticisms. That, ma'am, strategically positions the party as a better party than the People's National Party. That is probably a technical problem from not my end, because I haven't done anything. All right. Yeah, I don't know what is happening there. Okay. All right. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Getting to another aspect of this. So I spoke to getting new voters because of this kind of stance. We can also get new donors from this kind of stance. The people with money, the people who usually donate to political parties, they want to keep a party in power who they think will listen to them. They want to keep a party in power who they believe, if they come with an opinion, this party will take it. And this is how the JLP is being positioned.
Yes.
If they do the right thing with what is happening now. Malahoo Fort did not stand up and point out possible amendments in order to side with the PNP. She did this to ensure that the NaRRA bill goes through and it works.
Yes.
Because as you have mentioned before, all of the positives that will come if this works.
Yes.
And if she sat back, toward party lines, saw where there could be amendments, and said nothing, then further, the PNP stop everything because they find some loopholes, they find some problems. That is going to be worse for us.
Yes, ma'am.
Better now.
I'm surprised though, ma'am. But by the way, there's very little that a party can do to curtail views on social media. These people do not work for the party. They will tell you they have independent views. But I suspect, ma'am, that where the influence is a little bit above some of these comments, ma'am. We spent more than an hour and a half last night breaking this down so that the people could understand. Let me tell you something, you see, ma'am. I believe, you see, that this is a strategy of the Jamaica Labour Party. I
think so too.
I don't think that what happened in Parliament is outside
I was the only one.
of the control of the politics. No, one of the things that we have to understand, you see, ma'am, is that politics is a strategic, scientific game, you know, ma'am. It's not just what you see. It's not only theater, it is strategy. And I believe that the party was well aware of what Marlene was going to say in the Parliament yesterday.
Perception.
I think the party sent her out there to say it.
Yes.
To prove something.
I have been trying to tell people this.
Yes, ma'am. To prove something.
Yes.
And as I said last night, that when the opposition stood up to applaud a standing ovation, I think they applauded their fourth term defeat, because I think they were outwitted, outsmarted, outstrategized, and were left with their orange underpants showing yesterday. It showed how weak of a political party they were. Marlene Malahoo Fort, you know, ma'am, is no fool, you know. And if it was another member of parliament that did it, probably I would have doubts, but not Marlene. Marlene is a former attorney general, a former advisor to the government. You think Marlene would go out there and seek to embarrass her party, ma'am? Anybody who is thinking that is not reading the politics well. That you saw happening. No, that you saw happening in Parliament, ma'am, was a setup. That was strategic and a brilliant move by the Jamaica Labour Party. All planned, ma'am, and executed perfectly. Because the changes that are to be made to the NaRRA bill, Marlene said it.
Yes.
Marlene said it. The government will include those, and it will look like a team effort. Nothing coming from the PNP. PNP left in the water.
JLP bill.
Yes.
JLP amendments. JLP pass it.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Nothing to do with the PNP.
Nothing to do with the PNP, ma'am.
Nothing came from them.
You know one of the other things.
Because of them.
You know one of the other things, ma'am, that I find a little disheartening. Let me sit down and have a little talk with you. You know, one other thing I find a little disheartening, ma'am, that in this moment, the labor rights are not putting a lot of confidence in their leader, Andrew Holness. I don't think labor rights are giving Holness the credit that he, you know, that Holness is unmatched. Holness is unmatched in Jamaica's politics right now, ma'am. There's no one, I would say, even in the Caribbean, that can match Holness. I think labor rights are underestimating Holness, you know. Labor rights, don't do it.
Some of us are sleeping.
Holness got this locked, ma'am. Believe me, tell you that. Yeah? And nothing that you see happening in Parliament, ma'am, just happen like that. Everything is strategic. Even on the PNP side, you know. Don't bother think that people just get up and talk. Things are discussed behind the scenes. Things are planned. Things are strategized, ma'am. That's what is happening.
Yes, because as I said today, I called in on NNN today and I was talking.
Oh, you did?
Yes. It wasn't a long talk, because it's radio and you are limited. So I couldn't say much. But I basically said that I believe that Marlene went to the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister said to her, take it to the debate. I believe that. And I said it to Tyrone today. You can go and listen. I'm not making this up now because you said that, neighbor.
Yes.
I believe that is a possibility. And when I hear some people talking about, oh, this is something that should have been done behind closed door, people, this is a bill that has been tabled. You cannot amend it in secrecy.
Correct.
So even if she go behind and say, hey, I believe that these two things need to be fixed. The Prime Minister cannot fix it and then take it to Parliament and say, I fixed these things.
Correct.
Who told you to fix it? How is it that it is not on record that these things you were told to amend these things? We don't see that anywhere. So how are you amending things?
You're very right, ma'am.
Debate. It's a debate. You participate in a debate. That's how it works. It's not a. It's
Correct.
Not a,
and would that be not?
It's not a campaign.
Would that not be commendable, ma'am? That the Prime Minister has such confidence in
extremely commendable.
Yes, that he would be prepared to allow that to go be said in the public, because it strengthens the perception of the government, ma'am. It does.
It does.
Yeah.
And the government can only win for this. And I will repeat what I said to Tyrone today. Marlene Malahou Fort has secured the fourth term for the Jamaica Labour Party.
Tyrone said that?
I said that.
Oh, well, you were listening to us last night.
No, I usually do listen, but I didn't say that last
night. We said Fort, F-O-R-T-E, Fort. Fort gave the party the fourth term.
The fourth. Oh.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes,
ma'am. Intended.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We said that last time.
Gave the party the fourth. What happened, when we were watching the parliament, because I didn't feel this way in watching. And I probably think this is what is happening to some labor rights still, right? When you're watching the parliament, you put on your tribal armor. You have on your green hat and your green shirt and 10 armband on each arm, and you are in defense mode. Your tribal armor. But what happened after I listened is I took off my tribal armor.
Mm-hmm.
I put on my black, green, and gold. And that's when I got the epiphany. That's
you got the what? You got the what, ma'am?
Epiphany.
Oh, the epiphany. Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. What does that mean, ma'am?
That's when it's like the aha moment.
I see.
When you yes, that oh, this is what really happened, or this is what is happening. And that big picture, that's when you begin to see the big picture. When you are armored, you be in your tribal clothing outfit, you can't see the big picture.
Yes.
But the moment you put on that black, green, and gold, and I would encourage the labor rights to do so. Put on your black, green, and gold. Think about Jamaica. You know how happy some people would be right now to say, listen, Marlene Malahou is not standing up for party. She is standing up for Jamaica.
Yes.
She chose Jamaica again. And the Jamaican people. Because we want NaRRA to work. We want NaRRA to work, and we want it to work well. And we don't want the opposition to have any reason to stop it. So the people who are talking about Marlene Malahou gave ammunition to PNP. No, you are the ones giving ammunition to PNP, criticizing the lady. The lady has done us proud. And this means new voters. Some of us are too much of a gatekeeper. It's like we stand up at Belmont Road and only labor right born who behold Bustamante must come through the gate. No.
Uh-huh.
No, that's not how you win elections.
Yes.
You have to get new people Every single.
Well, you know, ma'am,
year.
to be truthful to you, a lot of these bloggers, ma'am, will not earn the Jamaica Labour Party one dege vote, not one. Okay, because they are just talking among themselves and talking to themselves. That don't help the party. I mean, quite frankly, if you need to find a new girl, you have to leave your house. You can't stay in your yard and find new fresh meat. You have to leave your house, man. And I'm not against them. I'm not criticizing them. All I'm saying is that their modus operandi does not help the party. They may help themselves because these are labor rights that are meeting to talk, and talk they can among themselves. But if I were an independent voter or uncommitted, I wouldn't be impressed with their conversations, man. So I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. I think that there's actually two ways to look at that. I think that Marlene was exposing strategy for the party. I think so. And even if she was not, I think the perception could be managed in such a way that it helps the party, because it suggests that the party is inclusive, that views in there can differ from the core and yet be sustained. And I believe that what the labor rights are doing right now is antithetical to their own party's well-being and development.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's absolutely correct.
Is it your first time up here, ma'am?
Yes. It's my first time talking to you directly, but I do watch the show and I do participate in the comment section.
Well, you're not on Nationwide, and we can give you some more time. What's on your mind? What else is on your mind?
Okay. Also, did I also look at the time and place already? When the people were talking about it not being the time and place. Where else is the place? Isn't Parliament where parliamentarians show up for their constituents?
Yes. Yes.
What other time do you get to debate a bill than the time allotted when the standing orders are suspended for the bill to be debated?
Yes.
So when people speak about time and place, what are you talking about?
Yes.
This is not something that you can go and hug up and meet at a bar and fix it and then take it to Parliament. That's not how a bill works. That's not how a debate works. This is a democracy.
Absolutely.
You know what this also proves? I am not sure if you realize how many times the People's National Party used the term, I don't remember the exact term that they used in Parliament, but every single one of them that stood up used the term, but it really means like a dictatorship. They were trying to make it seem like Andrew Holness, the CEO, and Andrew Holness is going to be like a dictatorship, right? But this goes back again. What Malahuford did goes back again to show that this is not a dictatorship. We are going to listen and we are going to amend. But
Yes.
it's just about. So in a dictatorship, that doesn't happen. So it also goes and dispel that as well. So when the PNP stand to clap, they have no idea why they are clapping.
Yes, ma'am.
They have no idea. They are basically embarrassing themselves. Because when this plays out, then we will all see it for what it really was. This is going to come back. This is going to be on the ballot for 2030. And JLP can only win for this.
Fantastic, fantastic, ma'am, fantastic. Well, ma'am, it was great having you tonight. You must come back again. You hear?
Okay.
Absolutely. Great having you, and thank you. Your insights were very good. Very good observation. Love having you. Honeybee, you are next.
Good evening again, neighbor. Good
Fantastic.
night, everyone.
Fantastic. Honeybee, where are you calling from?
I'm from Kingston. I'm in Kingston, Jamaica.
You're in Kingston. What's on your mind, Honeybee?
As I said before, is that if you listen to the bloggers, you will not get the full picture and the understanding of what is happening in the parliament.
Do you listen? Do you listen, ma'am?
I listen. I watch the parliament. I always watch the debates.
No. Do you listen to online bloggers?
Not a lot of them. For me, a lot of them don't make sense, and I have
What?
no time to listen.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So what I do, if I'm scrolling and I see something and it makes sense, I'll listen a bit. But if you're not saying anything that will drag my attention, meaning it will make me think, I'm going to move on. Right? Because there's just a few people I listen to online. Like, I always watch your show, and I listen to Michelle Stern. I don't know if you know about Michelle Stern. She's a PMP. She didn't hide that, But she's one of those Michael Manley, Portia PMP. She's one of those.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And when you listen to her when they were going on with the Integrity Commission situation, and she put everything online, and she said, if you don't have it, you can copy this and read it for yourself.
Yes.
And I did a lot of that because I wanted to be informed. But for me, with the debate now about the NaRRA bill, what people seem to don't understand is that the people in the West can't play politics now. They need help now.
But I wonder if their MPs. I wonder if their MPs are aware of that. Because no, them will see playing the politics, ma'am.
Exactly. But for me, this is my stand. These people need to put their MP on the spot and said, listen, if you are going to stick out against this bill, you are putting your next term in Parliament in jeopardy, because we can't wait on you. And people need to understand that if you are in the position, the ball is in your court to make sure that the MP that represent you speak for you and not for political gain or not for themselves. You can't afford. You are the one that is in the position. They're in their warm homes. And you are the one who lose your roof. Some of them lose everything. Put these people to work. You can't come out like you're on a fashion show or it's some form of facade like what Nikisha Burchell is doing. I don't know. I don't see what sense she make in the parliament. However, they vote for her and she's there. But since she's there and she wants something to do, this is what you do, ma'am. If you want a second term, you need to make sure we get the help we need or you are out. And I'm not just talking about PMP, I'm talking about JLP. If you're not working, you don't deserve a second term.
Yeah, ma'am, she has led what I call the performative politics. I think it's one of the most she has led, ma'am, a type of politics that I find, quite frankly, distasteful. I think she's a
I did not. I thought I was the only one.
I find her to be a distasteful type of politician.
Yes.
I think she's deceptive, and quite frankly, ma'am, I am disappointed in Homer Davis. I am disappointed in Homer Davis, ma'am.
Yeah.
Because there's no way, ma'am, that Homer should have allowed that girl to beat her. I saw her taking off her shoes, standing up on a rock stone over there, ma'am, and flinging herself, ma'am. I tell you the truth, ma'am, there is a broader discussion that needs to be had about the quality of people we send into the parliament.
Exactly, because
I know she alone, ma'am. No, when I hold on there, ma'am. When I sat down and I listened to the debate for maybe 2 or 3 times, and I listened to the quality of the presentations, the content, ma'am. This parliament is weak.
Yeah.
This parliament is weak, ma'am. And when I look at all Nikisha Burchell, I wonder, ma'am. I wonder what I'm not, and I don't know her academic qualifications. I'm just saying that the posture. You know what I saw today, ma'am? I saw the one over there in St. Elizabeth. What's her name? Jess.
Yeah.
Holding on to our frock, or if breeze blow, the whole of our show, ma'am. She have to be holding on to our frock. Telling the camera, I want government to give me some money. I am showing this because I want the government to give me some money. That is not representation, ma'am.
You know, God bless my mother, so she's no longer with us. And I remember just before the election, she said to me, and she said to my children and brother, we were just having a discussion, and she said, listen, for the future of this country and for the future of the children and your grandchildren, the choice has to be the right one.
Yes.
And I said to her, but mommy, what are you saying? Everybody know you is a labor right. She said, I am a labor right, but I never tell anyone not to be labor right. But what I'm saying to you, the choice has to be the right one.
Yes.
And in order for the country to continue in the trajectory that it's going, we need to decide if it's Jamaica or a person that we think can make a difference. We need to choose. We need to look outside of the party line and choose Jamaica and believe that Jamaica will be better if we do this. And I said to her, so what do you think? She said, let me tell you something. I know for a fact that the present government will be back, but they will not be.
Sorry, your mother said that, ma'am? Your mother said that?
Yes, she said, I know for a fact.
Hold on. Your mother is still with us? She's still with us?
No, she unfortunately she passed November.
And hold on. And she said that the government will be back?
She said the government will be back. But
hold on, ma'am. Your mother, she's passed on.
Yes.
And what did she say, ma'am?
She said the government will be back, but it will not be with the strength of representative that will be that, meaning she was saying that is not the same amount of people that was there before the election.
You mean she's saying that the Labour Party will win in 2030, but with a reduced majority?
No, she said they will have win in 2025.
Oh.
But they will not be with the same amount.
What did she say? Hold on? Last words are very important, ma'am. What did she say about 2030? You didn't prize that out of her.
When they won,
yes,
she said this was the term that oldness need to seal a fourth term. And I said to her, so mommy, you think you will get a... She said, let me tell you something.
Wow.
Honest as a vision, and the vision that he has, if he get the chance to put his vision forward, and the Jamaican people stand behind him and give him the chance to put his vision forward, we will get to where we should have been.
What you saying to me?
And I said to her, then mommy, she said, listen to me. She said, Wendy, I was here from Bustamante days.
Oh my God.
Know what I'm saying to you. I know. And my mother is a woman. If she says something happening, she said, come on, labor rights. That don't look good. That don't look good at all. You have to set an example for the people. And I'll be like, okay. Because I always like to watch her when the debates is happening. And she sit close to the TV and she put her ears like this. And sometimes I even think she'll fall asleep, but she's listening.
My God.
And I said to her, oh, you sleeping and you see listening to the debate? She said, did I tell you I was sleeping? And she said to me, she said, listen, you need to understand that an attack on loudmouth win election
yes.
is action. And she said, unfortunately, the Jamaican people don't normally vote on action. But we have to change that. We with our voice have to change that and point. She said, first of all, young people need to read more. Social media is there for us to understand that we can put the information out there, because they're not going to go to a book, they're not going to go to the archive, they're not going to take up an old cleaner. But if you put the correct information in front of them on social media, and they probably will listen a bit. Now I'm saying what Malalo Ford did, right?
No, ma'am. Hold on, dear ma'am. Before you go to Malalo Fort, what you have done, because I know this cinema. Last words are normally prophetic words.
Yeah.
And you are saying that your mother, that is now deceased, she died in November, ma'am?
Yes, November of last year.
Told you that the Labour Party would win a third term with a reduced majority.
Yes.
And that they will also win a fourth term.
Yeah. If he get the chance to put his vision forward. So I'm saying this NaRRA bill, the PNP knows that if the NaRRA bill get to go forward and it is done in the way that I expect it to be done, meaning not that you're not going to have flaws, but get the people the help that they need and to rebuild Jamaica better, stronger. There is no way that the Jamaica Labour Party can't win back government. And I was saying to my son just this week, and I said to him, you know, your grandmother taught something sometime, and I wonder if she's some fortune teller or something. And he's like, what now? And then when I say it to him, him say, Mommy, that's grandma. Grandma don't speak out of terms.
What?
And I said, okay. Because when my mother says something, and my grandmother, my son take it as law, because he said they have never steered us wrong. And we listen. And I'm saying to you, she said, when we were watching the voting and the election on the television, she was like, when I said to her, but it don't look good, Mommy, she said, what you worry about?
Yes.
And when
hold on election night.
Yeah.
When you were worried, your mother said, no worry.
Yeah, she said, what are you worried about? Because when at one point we saw that they were leading. And I said, it's not looking good. And she said, what are you worried about?
What a rock stone woman, ma'am. What a rock stone woman.
I'm telling you, I have some friends and they would say to me,
Is a Bustamante Labour right?
Yes, that's what she is.
Siaga Labour right? Shira Labour right?
I mean, at the funeral, it was all that talk.
What are you saying?
People saying they know her to be the person whenever they were having a big function.
What is her name, ma'am? What is her name?
Bennett. Dolores Bennett.
Big up yourself, Dolores Bennett. May your soul rest in peace and light perpetually shine upon you.
Well, thank you for that.
Rest in peace, Dolores.
She was the major cook at the community center whenever Mr. Siaga was having a function, because she can cook a lot.
Okay.
And she always said, the people have to understand when a government is working for you and not for themselves. I said, Mommy, she said, listen, I know this young man when he was introduced to us.
That is wholeness.
Yes, at Belmont Road. And I said to her, you know him from there? She said, yes. And she said, when they decide to put him where he is now, Olympic way and so, and she said, somebody said to her, no, he can't. And Siago said, that's where I'm putting him.
Yeah.
Because she was a delegate.
Yes.
She was a delegate.
Okay.
And she said, that's where we're putting him. And she said, we campaigned for him more than how we campaigned for Edward Siaga that year, that first time. And I said, so you knew? She said, because we know what he was up against, and we had to make our footprint then to seal him right there. And she said, I'm telling you, because when I saw the counting coming, and I'm saying, Mommy, but the Prime Minister, She said, keep yourself quiet. That's how it always goes. He will never lose.
Oh, yes.
She said to me, and she called a place down there. She said, those votes don't come in as yet.
All right.
And I was like, what do you mean? She said, those votes are always the last to come in. She said, right at C1 primary right there, those votes don't come in as yet. And I was like, okay. But because she understand the lines and how voters come in, because she worked in the election. So I was listening. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to watch anymore. Tell me how it goes. And then when they started to count down, my mother said, listen, didn't I tell you? And when I said, when they said it was, I think it was 32 something, she said, we are not going to get, she said, I hope we get 36, but I'm sticking with 35. And when we got 35, my brother said I should have bet on it.
What a profit. Oh my God. Oh
and
boy.
She even called something that I could not believe that could happen. She said, a hard-working person is don't seem like that person will all out. And I was like, hard-working person? And I said, who is that? And she said, watch and see. I'll tell you. And when it come up, and I saw with Isaac and
Anne-Marie,
she said she's not coming back, and they're going to be sorry for it.
Oh my God.
I said, oh, you mean
She's
not coming
back?
back?
What is happening on the program?
She said she's not coming back.
Yes. Oh
And I
boy.
said to her,
By the way, she didn't tell you anything about me, ma'am? Anything about me?
She always listened to you. She
Wait,
said,
hold on.
She
She always
said,
listened to me, ma'am?
A man, yes, she said a man with sense and know how to conduct himself properly.
That's what she said.
A man with sense and know how to conduct himself properly.
Wonderful.
She's the person that let me start listening to you.
Hold on. What is her name again?
Dolores Bennett. She's the person that let me
She
start.
made you start listening to me, ma'am?
Yes.
What a thing.
But she said you know how to conduct yourself.
And what are you saying to me?
You're a man with understanding. And I said to her, okay.
Wow.
And my daughter, who's just 19, listens to you.
Wow.
Oh,
Good night to her. What's her name?
Her name is Devandra. And
Hi,
she said,
Devandra. How you doing? Nice to have you. Great. Lovely.
sometimes she's in class and she said to me, Mommy, neighbor is on. Just go and listen. As soon as class finish, I'll tune in.
And she's 19. And she's 19, ma'am.
Because I tell them, you don't listen to me, you don't listen to anybody else, you read for yourself.
Yes.
And I'm so happy that that's how my son is.
Wow, what a wonderful.
And he will stick out and say, listen, did you guys ever spend the time to just really listen, read, get the information?
Wonderful.
Before you open your mouth?
Yes.
And I said to him, sometimes they will not, they will go with what is popular.
Wonderful.
And the narrative.
What a wonderful call. What a wonderful call this is. Ma'am, I tell you this. My time is going. I'm 24 minutes to 10 o'clock. But I have to ask you, ma'am. So your daughter, she's interested in politics?
She's in college, yeah.
All right. And your son?
Well, he's about to start his master's next September. He did biochemistry. So
wow.
Yes.
Yes.
And I even tell my nephew.
What about your husband?
Well, he listens, but he's a 8:30 time person. 8:30 is out.
He go to in bed 8:30. How you manage that, man? How you manage that?
Because he gets up so early.
I see.
And he works very hard. And so on weekends, on a Friday night, he will go over that. But from Sunday to Thursday, 8:30 is.
Okay. Well, ma'am, I tell you this, ma'am. This is a wonderful call. I really enjoy. I can feel that your mother, ma'am, was a spiritual woman.
Yes, she was.
She's resting in peace.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I wish I could play a song for her, but I'm on YouTube. I can't play the song. And remind me of the name of your young daughter, ma'am. 19.
19. She's Devandra.
Devandra. I want to say good night to Devandra. Devandra, how you doing? Nice to have you, and continue to listen to the Hello Neighbor show. Really great that talking to your mother. And I hope you come again, ma'am.
I definitely will. once you are on here, you will have a listener. I'll tell you.
Okay.
Once you're here, you will have a listener.
Yeah, honeybee.
I'll always be here.
Wonderful call, ma'am. And I know my listeners enjoy listening to you too. Thank you so much for calling tonight, and have a great night. Okay.
Oh, same to you and everyone else.
All right, ma'am. And Devandra, study your book now and do well in school, and
she better do.
We're rooting for you.
We are not going with the student loan, so she's broken me.
Oh my God. What is she studying, ma'am?
She's doing business administration.
Okay, good choice. Have a great rest of the night, ma'am. Your husband is asleep now.
Yes.
Go wake him up, ma'am. I'm sure he'll go wake him up. Wake up, sir.
I'll have to save the wake up if I do want him to wake up.
You have to do what?
I have to save the wake up if I really do want him to wake up.
What do you mean by that?
You get what I mean?
All right. Leave it alone. You're bad too much.
Okay.
Save the wake up. All right. Bridget,
Okay.
Lovely talking to you. Have a fantastic night. You hear?
Okay, same to you.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Wow. Nice. Well, 21 minutes to 10 o'clock, and we're gonna get into the real discussions now with Protecting Jamaica and of course Harry Enriquez. Let's see if we can use the next 20 minutes to bring this all home for our listeners. Good evening to Protecting. Good evening, Harry.
Good evening, neighbor.
Yeah.
Good evening, neighbor. Good evening, listeners.
Sorry for the long wait. I was here all by myself. You guys came on a little late also. Well, let's start with you. Protecting Jamaica. Protecting Jamaica. The Prime Minister laid out the NaRRA bill. We played that earlier. Answered questions. Addressed governance. The debate and oversight issues. There continue to be great interest in this bill, Protecting Jamaica, and a lot of people in Jamaica tonight are still asking, what is NaRRA about? What is in it for me? Would you open the floor tonight by getting us to understand that question? The farmer in St. Elizabeth, the lady with the tarpaulin still on her roof in Westmoreland. What is in NaRRA for people, the people of Jamaica? Position NaRRA for me tonight, Protecting.
Good night again to the listeners, and Harry, yourself, Caroline. NaRRA basically means, and I'm going to try to communicate this in a simple way to the people who are really looking forward to recovering from Melissa. NaRRA simply means people. Those of you who are in St. James, those of you in Hanover, those of you over there in Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth, some parts of Manchester and the Alligator Pond side, NaRRA simply means that government. Sorry about that, neighbor. NaRRA simply means the government will be spending $6.7 billion in different ways. Some will be spent through the private sector and all. But this is money. These are monies that will change your lives forever. The rebuilding of your houses, those of you who live in areas that your homes can be rebuilt or your roofs can be replaced, those of you who lived in flood-prone areas that needs to move further inland, you will be assisted through the Hope housing program. The Prime Minister had said that he will be distributing some houses through that program. Also, we will be building vertically to make better use of some of the spaces.
Yes.
So in that regard, your lives will be improved. Your copy now you will have real communities.
Yes.
Rather than just have one little place catch up one piece of land over there so where people land and you make one little footpath. So even if you go to the supermarket and you come in, the taxi can't even drive good on your yard, you have to make 10 trips for carry your 5 bags. So your lives will be improved. Now, people in Westmoreland, Hanover, Santa Cruz, South St. James, don't allow your PMP member of parliament to tell you that the government is coming to dig out your eye. Today, there was a discussion, this whole thing about the NIDS came back up. That government are going to draw blood from you like vampire and all them foolish. Don't allow your PMP member of parliaments and the comrade activists to tell you any nonsense. You need this now. And you need it to be done correctly, properly. And you need it to be done. And when it is done, you need not to be concerned about what next if there is another disaster. How am I going to fare? Because at least the houses will be built in a sensible way to at least withstand some aspect of whatever disaster comes next. Because, come on, Category 5, 252 miles per hour wind, your roof might blow off.
Yes.
Whether you use a hurricane strap or not. But if the structure is sturdy enough, then there will only be the roof to replace instead of your house gone and you turn up and look on your blow gone up in the ear. And it will have to be replaced. So you need it now. And NaRRA is going to bring you that relief. Don't allow your PMP representative to hold up the progress of your very existence. A matter of fact, let me advise you, if your PMP member of parliament that you voted for, Mr. Comrade Sir and Miss Comrade Ma'am, continues to hold up the passage of NaRRA in the parliament, it is you who is going to suffer.
Yes.
But I want you to understand also that when your member of parliament leaves parliament, they're going home in Cherry Garden or Jacks Hill to a well-covered house, a well-sturdy structure that they live in, and them only come look for you once a week, maybe on a Thursday or a Saturday, spend some time with you, buy you some rum when it's good for your health, and then full up your ears and nonsense while you, as Dayton Campbell said, have to sit down in your house and count the stars in the sky when night come. So people, NaRRA is going to replace structures, put on roofs, build better communities. Black River is going to be rebuilt, but more inland. Westmoreland will be rebuilt to a certain extent because one of the issues that is arising in Westmoreland now, neighbor and listeners, 3/4 of the people them who their houses were damaged, them never owned the land. And one of the reasons why you see the PMP is causing problems, let me share some information here. These people will have to be relocated from where they formerly lived. Because now that the house them blow down, these landowners who were trying for many years to get these people off of the land them, couldn't get them off. Now the house them blow down. Them say, God come help take off the people them off of them land. Now the government, in giving you some aid, cannot go build on people land. So these people will have to be relocated. And with the relocation to available lands might not support the political numbers for the PMP. And that is one of the reasons why you hear the PMP causing so much problem. Because remember in some of these seats, neighbor, them win by 200 or 300. When you move 500 people, gone somewhere else, a problem that for them. All they're thinking about is the next election. People, they are not thinking about your well-being. They are only thinking about the next election for them win again. Right now, you vote them in, a $1 million a month them a collect. But yet still you're in turmoil. And the Prime Minister is trying to help you with NaRRA. And they are being a stumbling block against your progress. You need to force them to go into the Parliament next Tuesday and go make sure so the NaRRA bill is passed. Because the passage of the NaRRA bill is going to support your own recovery. So neighbor, NaRRA simply is the magic bullet, I'm going to call it that, to replace people's homes, replace people's roofs, and to bring people back to a semblance of normalcy so that they can continue with their lives.
Okay, let me put this to you. In the quiet aftermath of the hurricane protecting, Jamaica is not only measuring damage, it is measuring direction. And in that searching moment, protecting, leadership matters. And therefore, as we even debate this NaRRA bill, I think credit needs to be given where credit is due. Andrew Holness has moved beyond the language of recovery as routine and into the harder language of systems, of structure, of execution. He is the vision behind NaRRA, is he not?
Yes, neighbor, he is. He is a vision behind NaRRA.
And in that regard, protecting, as he attempts to re-engineer how a nation responds when the ground is shifted below our feet, should he not be given credit for this protecting?
The political landscape in Jamaica, neighbor, is so imbalanced, so much so that the people who controls media and narrative, majority of them swings with the PMP. And so if you're talking about credit, we will not have a fair discussion, much less to give credit where it is really due. Now, there is no comparison here. Jamaica have had hurricane before. There was Hurricane Ivan and Charlie.
Yes.
Whichever one came first, the highest payout was about $10,000 in helping people to get their lives back together. And I think the second one, the highest payout was $40,000
yes.
to a few people to help them to get their lives back together. Now, the value of that $40,000, if we were to use it as the benchmark today, is about $75,000 or thereabout.
Yes.
As the maximum. Now, just consider now, a government is not supposed to be rebuilding nobody's house. Government is supposed to assist, because the government never caused the hurricane, but at least the government is there to give you a lending hand and some help in getting back your life together.
Yes.
But this government has taken it much further, thanks to Dr. Andrew Michael Holness. Now, consider this, neighbor. The maximum payout in assistance for people under the ROOS program today is $500,000. And that is about 400% more than even if you were to revalue the highest amount that the PMP paid out in that hurricane in 2005 or 2004, there somewhere thereabout. If you are to consider it,
yeah, that's about $3,200 US.
Yes. Now, neighbor, there is no comparison that the PMP has with this government in no sphere at all. Whether it be the economic crime, whether it be natural disasters, whether it be in infrastructure, any way at all. No.
Wow.
Not near can look upon. There is a comparison. And that is the reason why the PMP's attacks usually border and personal. Because there is no substantial argument they can put forward to make people buy into whatever story they must sell. No. The government led by Andrew Holness, having put forward this as a solution to a problem that exists, is somewhat, neighbor, I don't want to really go overboard. Andrew Michael Holness is just a genius, neighbor. let me try some simple ways to put it. He's just a genius. And he is the right man for the right time. And some people that say such a time as this. Andrew Michael Holness is a visionary. And all these things, all the progress we have made have come out of his vision for Jamaica. And yes, Andrew Holness is the father, is the grandfather of NaRRA. It's his vision. I think it was his idea. He brought it to the cabinet. The cabinet bought into it. And here we are today. NaRRA in a few days' time will be a reality. And we must give him all the credit. Don't expect Glean or TVJ RJR to give him any credit at all.
Absolutely correct.
We must be the one to champion this message, to carry this right throughout the media. Because people listen to us. People hear what we say when we say it,
Yes.
Because we're talking sense. So we must be the one to help people to understand that, listen me, Andrew Michael Holness must be praised. He must be praised. Yeah. We are doing better. We're going to do much better. Jamaica is going to become a first world country under Andrew Michael Holness in the 5th term. I didn't express that, neighbor.
Okay, Noel. Well, let me go to Harry. Harry.
Yes, neighbor.
Yeah, that is leadership in its deepest sense, Harry. Not only responding to crisis, but reshaping the architecture of response itself. And so NaRRA stands as more than policy. It stands as possibility. The brains behind NaRRA, though not exclusively the Prime Minister, but obviously he's head of the team. Credit should go to him, eh?
Of course, neighbor. I think in the interim, we should always give them their flowers. But I think the greatest credit we can give him is what will happen at the polls, because I think with this being done properly, you have to give him the reward, and the ultimate reward is another term. Right? Because you cannot have something like this being done in Jamaica that has never been done before by another country of this magnitude. Something revolutionary. As I think it's Steve Wright said it, it is something that is not trying to rebuild what failed, but rather build what will last.
Yes.
And this is what the whole systematic framework of NaRRA is. Because when you look at it, and Andrew Holness would have spoken to it, neighbor, looking at the response time of previous disasters, which means we're looking at it over the last 63 years, basically, since we've been independent thereabout,
yes.
Right? Every single disaster, and we look at the response time, it is not in keeping with the standard that we want to get to. And as such, we're putting in frameworks such as this one to ensure we can respond faster, we can be more resilient, and we can also be a lot more adapting, right? To especially to what is happening with climate change. So in essence, NaRRA is one of the first steps, or that's the second step, because the bond, right? That the $24 billion is the first major step in not leaving Jamaica wide open again.
Yes.
That came from Nigel Clark. This is another step in the phase of it to ensure that Jamaica is protected going forward. Funny enough, we are protecting JA tonight. But the truth about it is that I don't want people to misunderstand what NaRRA is. NaRRA is not there to correct everything that is not the best in Jamaica. NaRRA is actually one that is there to handle the disasters. So contrary to what the narrative is and what people want to put out there, NaRRA is not there to revolutionize the entire framework when it comes on to governance. It is not, right? NaRRA is there to handle strategic investment, because the truth is, we may never see another investment or require another investment like this, that we're getting the $6.7 billion package when this is done right in a neighbor.
Yes.
So And that is why NaRRA is not a permanent structure. Because if we don't get another major hurricane for a while of this magnitude, we will not require to call upon NaRRA.
Yes.
But what I've seen that the opposition wants to put, and this is because of the amount of money that is at our disposal, because really and truly it comes down to dollars and cents, but more so the dollars, because a lot of people who speak on it not making much sense. Now, when you look on the overall framework, neighbor, it is really there as an implementation machine, right? Accelerate project delivery. What that means for the average man, it simply means that when you look for put on your roof, it has been done as one of the fastest in our history.
Yes.
To get relief, so you can start your own recovery. And then the major frameworks. How long will it take to rebuild communication lines? Where this money comes from? The whole accountability aspect of it. We never really have these oversights that can move fast. Now, you may hear people saying, oh, it's a speed up the process. Yes, but not limited to just speeding up, because there's an aspect to it that ensures that it is targeted, it is very strategic, and the accountability factor. Because we don't have anything like this in Jamaica right now. This is the first of its kind in how it's being done, right? And this is what it does. It ensures that it can stimulate economic growth a lot faster than ever before. So it's not really designed to correct everything that is wrong within a system. The system will continue to go on. There are other tweaks and changes and systematic frameworks that have to come in elsewhere. But NaRRA is positioning to ensure that Jamaica themselves can stimulate that economic growth by transforming communities to a standard that needs to be. Because, for example, if we look in the West, let me narrow it down, Westmoreland, their infrastructure was never built to handle something of this magnitude, nowhere close. And yes, Melissa is unprecedented for us in the modern age. But the truth is, them start fall apart long before Melissa properly hit. And it showed up the failed system. What NaRRA is doing now is to actually correct those failures by previous governments and current member of parliaments, who's not really there to bring that growth that the rest of the country has been experiencing. And sadly, it took a natural disaster for it to be addressed in this manner, right? But what we're seeing in terms of NaRRA's end goal that it's looking for is to ensure that these people are never left naked again.
Yeah, the Prime Minister, in one of his presentations, Harry, expressed he made a comparison between when he was leader of the opposition and how he supported legislation as far as relates to the financial sector. And he expressed some disappointment that the opposition at this time is not showing the type of collaborative support that the government would need for a bill like NaRRA. How do we speak to what the opposition has or has not done, and how do we position them in this moment in our history?
Okay, so let me take the last part first. This is where the politicking of the People's National Party comes into play, yes. Right? And I said the People's National Party and not necessarily the opposition, because they're very good at wielding and weaving this thing where they speak, but not as an opposition, but more of a party line.
Yes.
Right? If they accept this bill willingly from the get-go, they're accepting the economic resilience that has been achieved over the last decade by the administration.
Yes.
And that is something they're not willing to accept. Because NaRRA only comes to the forefront because of those work that was done in the last decade in the neighbor.
Yes.
With those frameworks and those sacrifices made and how we built back on the discipline. Without that, NaRRA cannot come to the forefront.
As a matter of fact, you are making a very good point there, because what you're actually saying is that the attracting of the multilateral support is not in isolation to the work done by the government over the last decade. Correct?
That's correct. It is because of the continuation of it.
Yes.
Right? And the fact that the government can sustain it as well and improve going forward. So if the opposition accepts the bill without putting up this much of a fight, because they're going to disagree with it as to the T neighbor, they're going to find some things that are not even applicable. Because we've seen what happened with Mark Golding. He was speaking on the CEO and then another management, and he mixed up both. And Andrew Holness had to correct it, right? So you see where they're going to put a little tricks in there, because they cannot accept the fact that the country has been pointed in the right direction, and it is because of that is the result of the hard work done in the last decade, which they have been bashing from day one. Now, when you look at the overarching factor, neighbor, the opposition, despite opposing, because that's all they're doing, none of them have really come with, proper implementation in it. And there's something I saw a few hours ago regarding master builders, that I think is IMAJ.
Yes.
I never hear of that association coming up and speaking vocally regarding after any natural disaster to be included. But you see, because everybody have them hype on the money, you will see them coming out from the frameworks, neighbor, from the crevices and nooks and crannies, to say they are, a stakeholder in society and they want to be considered and all of that. But they've never said they want to be considered before any of this. Most of who are speaking from the standpoint of wanting access to the money. What can they get? What piece of the pie can they get? And if they don't think they have a hand on it, then they're going to disagree. They're going to push back. But NaRRA is not built for that. And that is why it's standing independently to a great extent. And they can't fathom that. They don't want that because it has never been done in Jamaica before. It always have some person in terms of in government, along party lines and so on, that benefits from these things. But with NaRRA there now as the oversight and the framework, the implementation machinery to direct and give people the clarity, give people the transparency on the go, they can't handle that because it simply means them can't do no hanky-panky. And they are fighting to do hanky-panky. It's not a mistake you hear the opposition being calling about more money, more money. It is not a mistake. It is very strategic to what they're doing, and they're blinding people by utilizing how much money is there. And you'll hear it, neighbor. The government have so much money. How come they don't deliver the house them yet? How come they don't do this yet? Why them have to sit down and wait? They shift a lot of people, those who they can do this to. They'll shift a lot of minds to the amount of money rather than what impact the money can maintain and how it can drive Jamaica as a whole and not the individual persons. That's what they're doing now. It's really a common strategy of divide and conquer. If they can divide the mindset of the people, by focusing on the volume of money. That's not the case. The money has to be strategically set into places and areas that will drive growth. A lot of this is loans, especially 2.3 billion US that will be going in the private sector. I think when you're making that level of money available to the private sector to drive growth in your country, you can't just give money, so you can't just move it around. In fact, this isn't money that you can just hand out and don't get a level of return to it. It has to be economically driven, which means the money flow through and stimulating the economy. So nobody now have to hand you not $50,000 or $20,000 and then by 1 week time that done. It is to allow you to take advantage of the known opportunities that will come, because they will come. There will be more financial resources available. There will be more need of skill sets that we do have, We'll have some shortcomings of it. But it is a prompt to the people out there. Get skilled. Look at the era. We're not fools. Neighbor, we know for the very most part what the country will need for this rebuilding. We can't short a mason, we can't short a plumbers, steel men, every skill set, engineers, electricians. You cannot go wrong. And if the people refuse to position themselves, then they can't take advantage of the opportunity. That is what NaRRA creates for you, you know.
Yeah.
That is what it allows. And with the People's National Party fighting it to this manner, that is what they delay for the people. Because the administration is not willing to give you money, right? We've already done so with $10 billion in the interim. The next phase of it is to empower you. Let you drive your own growth. It's doing what all governments are designed to do. Create the environment for opportunities. And it is up to the people to take it. And NaRRA is that framework. It is that implementation machinery that is strategically funneling throughout society in areas that has to drive growth. Because we have to also pay back this money. So it simply means that when this money hits the economy, it flows around in people's pocket. Before you know it, the tradesman and whoever probably can start up his own little shop. Then that flow around to his little community. Him hire one shopkeeper. You know, he can send more people go school. They can go back to normalcy and advance themselves.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Harry. Listeners, we are close to wrapping up now. I have one final question for Protecting, and then Harry, I'm going to throw over to you to wrap for me. Protecting Jamaica.
Yes, neighbor.
In less than 3 minutes, this moment for Jamaicans protecting, especially in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. James, Hanover, Trelawney, transcends the gravitational pull of the political contest. Not because politics is irrelevant, but because recovery is not partisan. It's practical, it's urgent, it's human. There's a time for debate and there's a time for building. This is the time for building, protecting. Is it not disappointing that the gravitational pull of politics is precisely what is driving, especially those members of parliaments in the Western parishes? Isn't this disappointing?
Neighbor listeners, as the Prime Minister said, this is a national project. It's a national project, which means that every single soul, every Jamaican, whether you're home or abroad, should join hands and hearts together and support the rebuilding of people's lives. Now, there's something else to consider in a neighbor.
Yes, sir.
Melissa, happened just as we come out of our election.
Yes.
The PMP lost. Mark Golden dropped down on the election night when he realized the PMP lost.
Aha.
Now, just imagine a few weeks after that, Melissa happened while the PMP were still licking their wounds. So they haven't gotten a chance to heal yet in a neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
No,
it's like a breakup, you know?
Yes. With all of these Tegereg and Begereg and Chabas were in our parliament on the PMP side now. They don't know anything about deportment. They don't know if it act, they don't know if it behave. Like little Miss Lady there. I mean, there is nowhere you take a man or a woman who you send on street car and go sell coke and put them in a established business and expect them to operate as a business person. And I say go.
Yeah.
And so we expect too much of these people. We expected too much of these people. They don't know how to behave. We have a cricketer in there. Him good as in there swing back and things end up on the pitch.
Yeah. Don't know how he got
we
this.
have a lady in there where you have to go take a microscope to look far beyond many things to find the real her. And we expect them to have real behaviors. Now, the politics is what established them, even while they did not understand the politics very much.
Yes.
So this situation now having won, them still vex, so them never form government. But now having this situation which requires mature approaches, that requires a mature disposition, I would put it. And we're expecting immature people to act maturely. Now, let me continue by saying, maybe 1 minute left.
Yes.
The people of Jamaica, especially in these 5 parishes, should understand that there are things that the PMP not telling them. And maybe we need to have a program, neighbor, one evening we just deal with what the PMP not telling the people. What are they not telling the people? They are not telling the people that if NaRRA should work without their hindrance, that the people's lives will even be better than before. They're not telling the people that the government has this money to spend, but the politics cannot be involved in the spending of this money. Therefore, a NaRRA, which is an independent body, can spend this money better than any politician.
Yes.
They're not telling the people that at the end of the day, your lives are destroyed, and even if Andrew Holness are the Prime Minister, I will never vote for him. We all need to support this that the government is doing now in order to get your lives back on track. They are not telling the people the truth, and the people need to start demanding the truth. But you know what else, neighbor? What else is true? The people who support the People's National Party now have no sense.
Well.
So they do not know when the PMP and their operatives taking them for fool.
Yes.
Them will follow them party down to the grave. So they will not ask these questions. No, they will not ask questions like Marlene Malahou Ford asked in the parliament on Tuesday. Why? Because the only political party in Jamaica that's a democratic organization is the JLP. Nobody over Mark Golding party couldn't do that. You mad? See, David Crawford asked 2 questions in the committee, and then the case I move him. Nobody in Mark Golding's party could not do that. And it means, therefore, that because they know that their people, their supporters, are not thinking people, them don't know what go on, them only rely on the PMP politicians to come tell them what them feel to tell them. We will never have it any better. And I know that Andrew Holness understanding this is going to have this bill passed and is going to put NaRRA into full effect, whether the PMP like it or not. So people, help is coming. Andrew Michael Holness is bringing help to you, even though you vote for the PMP, but the PMP will never tell you that.
Okay, fantastic. Protecting Jamaica. We'll catch you tomorrow. Great to have you, sir.
Thank you, neighbor. Good night, listeners.
Okay, over to Harry. Harry, want to thank you too. Put a wrap on the show for tonight as we say goodbye to our listeners.
Most definitely, neighbor. I just want to say to the listeners that the truth about this whole NaRRA thing, right? And the Prime Minister said it best. It is to take policy and convert it to outcomes. Simply means all this deliberation and consultation that happens in Parliament and Senate and all of that we do get the proper outcomes in a sensitive time frame, in a time frame that is just, because we've seen and we're learning that we've gone through a Category 5 hurricane and people expected the unexpected. They demanded the impossible, right? We've all heard it. This should have done already, that could have done. Even though the most powerful countries in the world have still failed to achieve what these people are expecting of this administration. And for me personally, I welcome that expectation because it simply means the people sees something in you. They see the potential that you could possibly supersede world leaders, right? You have that level of potential in you. So it's a compliment. But in reality, Jamaica doesn't have the overarching framework to propel those possibilities to realities, in a sense, from policy to outcomes. And that is what NaRRA is being set up for. And again, it is not the permanent infrastructure throughout the society that will continue to drive Jamaica. It is in a response to a duty in recovering for the people in a timely manner, in a manner that is transparent. You can have your accountability, and money is spent properly, something that we've unfortunately not seen from the opposition when they were in power. It is to ensure that limited resources are spent thoroughly, are spent well, and that you get value. Because I want to move the mindset of the people from the amount of money to more so the value that that money will give you as an individual. And we've already gotten a little look as to what that is. Case in point, JPS was given the 24 billion or 150 million US to restore power to Jamaica. They said it's not the right move. But when it was completed, do we see anybody complain? We didn't look at the $24 billion as the amount of money. We looked at the value that it brought back to the lives of the people, the dignity that it restored, right? The normalcy that people deserve. NaRRA is taking it 10 levels higher. So you get a taste as to what power levels this bill, which will become a legislation soon, I can tell the opposition that it will drive Jamaica forward. It is one that will ensure that we get a level of growth we've never seen in the last 30 years. And I can put my head on the block for that. That is why this is so important to us Jamaicans, and we have to ensure that we back it. Of course, there's questions. There are additional things that we will require to add to it. But it is not something we should push aside, because you have to understand that this is also an opportunity. You see, everybody wants Jamaica vile because it could be the Hail Mary for Jamaica. Think of this as our Hail Mary to being resilient in a geographical area that we will get disasters, but we can stand more resilient. We will have better infrastructure. We will also be able to see a higher quality in life because we would have taken the opportunities that come, that is created through NaRRA. And that is where I wanted to leave it at the feet of the people and want to say to them, continue to listen to programs like this, continue to get additional information, and be vested, because this is a period in your life, not necessarily in the term in the government, but a period in your life that you can restore what was taken away from you, maybe a generation before you were even born, but what was robbed because of poor management and mismanagement in previous times. This is an opportunity that you have to guard and take it with both hands. Trust the process, educate yourself on the process, and be a part of these conversations, because this is also how you get to ensure that you benefit from it. And that's where I leave it to the people of Jamaica, to the neighbor, locally, regionally, and definitely in the diaspora. I just want to say, let me close out with YouTube, neighbor.
Before you close out with YouTube, let's take some of the comments. Marie Wright, good evening, neighbor. Yeah, good evening, Marie. Master Jam, J9I, good night to you, sir. I see you. Karine Wright, good night, neighbor. I'm very happy to see one of your subscribers. So, well, thank you, Karine, for subscribing. What is this? Fully disclosed, neighbor. Please turn up the sound. Well, Shafreen, the sound. Are you on YouTube, Harry?
No, I'm actually on TikTok tonight.
Oh, okay, right. Neighbor, please. Okay. Blessings, family. Let me put on my glasses here. I'm trying to see something, but I'm not seeing. Neighbor, report to JLP headquarters for duty. You are ready, and we need you. Oh, KC 5383. Well, talk to my moderator. No, talk to the moderator. Okay. Karine Wright, 9603. Good food for Jamaicans. Please like up the program, each and every one. Thank you. Westlife Politics. Investors don't invest in countries they can't pay them back. Okay, Karine Wright. Father God, pass this way if you're not busy. Lord God, then better pray that the MP don't send a next one for real neighbor. Okay, all right. Okay. I certainly commended my MP greatly. I appreciated him very much. Never get a chance to shake his hand or see him in person. But one thing I know for sure, God is, oh my goodness, we have hundreds of comments here. Boy, conversations is going on right now at Power of Faith Ministries, and I can't even listen to it because of the show that I have. Lots of comments over YouTube there.
I just want to say to YouTube, neighbor, I don't forget them, I'll be back over tomorrow.
Yes. Well, say good night to them and close out.
Definitely. So YouTubers, forever giving thanks for the support. As we grow, we do this for you, and we do it for the movement of Jamaica. So help us, help you, help Jamaica, help a nation move forward again. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And tell a friend to tell a friend as well. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as we grow, and of course help the algorithm to be pushing the program even more, so that those who you may not be able to reach directly through your actions, you've empowered the algorithm to push us to further areas, to new people.
By the way, Harry, there are more people watching us on YouTube than are over here on TikTok. Do you know that? Yeah.
Well, neighbor, may I add to that as well?
Yes.
I just want to let the listeners here on TikTok knows that as of Monday at 7 p.m., we will be going live from YouTube, not on TikTok.
There you go.
Okay, so we will all need to go over to YouTube and subscribe to the Hello Neighbor show.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Okay, Ari, go ahead.
Yeah, so a beautiful show again, neighbor. We're a little late, but we're here, still giving value, and keeping Jamaica firm, keeping our listeners steady, feeding them the food that they need to have conversations like this. And remember, this is the Politics Plus network, conversations that matter. And in fact, these conversations will transform each and every ears that it passes through. So have a good night, YouTubers. I'll be there tomorrow. And we'll have some good time. But for the time being, always appreciative of the love that we're given, of the camaraderie that is there. So thanks again, Neighbor Rights on the YouTube side.
Okay, YouTubers, take care of yourself, and I'll catch you tomorrow, okay? Bye-bye, and have a fantastic night.
And listeners, before you go, just to let you know that we will be here tomorrow morning at 11 a.m.